Okay, so this is one of the big final jobs that we've got to do, and we've got to put on the coilovers. But before we put on the coilovers, we're actually sending these off to Wizards of Lock to get a full lock kit made. And I'm even, this decision's come even quicker because I've took this one side off and all of the ball joints in that arm are ruined. But this is actually one of the first times in probably a very, very, very long time I've actually done a side on my own and I'm going to film the second side. That's because I didn't know how much of a bad job this was going to be, because you've got to take the wheel bearing off and everything to get the actual coilover off. Now, it wasn't actually that bad. It was a bit of a pain getting everything out, but it wasn't actually that bad. So these are the custom coilovers that Gaz have made up. So obviously, a few videos ago, we installed the rears and they give us their Gaz golds. Now for the fronts, these are even better. They've got obviously the E30 suspension, it comes in one with the hub. So Gaz Coilovers sourced me a hub and they've welded the hub on and basically made me a whole new unit. So this is their Gaz Gold, this is their race coilover, and we've actually got camber and caster adjusting top mounts as well. And I told them that we've got a big V8 in the front, so they've put a 700 kilogram spring on the front as well. So Gaz Coilovers make full custom coilovers, and they make them for cars that you've never even heard of. So I've never known a suspension company to ask me so much about the car before making them. They make every single shock to order, and they want to know everything about the car. They ask me what I'm going to be driving for, what engine's in it, what's the weight of it, what the corner weights, what tyres I'm running. They've asked me all these things so they can make the perfect shock for the E30, and this is it. Annoyingly, we're not going to put it on the car. We're going to be sending it off to Wizards of Lock, and they're going to be cutting up this hub, and they're going to be doing some spicy things so I can have tons of angle. So I wanted to actually remove the suspension now so that when these come back, we can just put the coilover straight on the car. And this is actually one of the last biggest jobs that we've actually got to do. So I've done the other side, bit of a pain, not too bad. Let's take off the other one. Before I continue, I wish that there was a way that you could smell through this camera. This wheel bearing grease stinks. It smells like off nachos. I can only describe it as like a chicken fajita that's been sat for like 12 years. It is absolutely disgusting. But I've got to do it again and get the other side off.
So let's strip down this side. There's two 19mm bolts holding the brake caliper on. There's a 19mm bolt holding the bottom arm onto the hub, and the trap rod is a 17mm.
That one came out dead easy because it's a brand new trap rod.
And there's three 13mm bolts holding it into the shock body. This side was a lot easier. The first side was honestly really hard. The bottom arm was just not coming away from the hub. But once that's off, you can pull away the whole unit. Now again, the strut and the hub are all one unit on the E30s, and it's really annoying. I don't know why they did that. All three series going forwards are actually separate. So E36 have a separate hub and a strut, which is what they should have been from the start. So we've got to take off the dust cover, which just getting a little screwdriver in there and open it up. This wheel bearing has been changed at some point because this is a brand new hub nut. Now, for some reason, the other side wheel bearing came off really nice. This one, it did basically disintegrate getting it off. It seized to the hub, and I still couldn't get that last collar off. So luckily enough, we don't have to reuse these hubs. But on eBay, the wheel bearings were really cheap, so I just ordered two anyway. So I'm going to change them both. So let's turn back our attention to getting the body kit fully done. So this is a front bumper, and hopefully this is the last time I'm going to be messing around with a fiberglass part. I said 3 or 4 years ago I will not fit any more fiberglass parts to any cars. Now look at us.
So it was quite faffy to get it where it needs to be, and I'm pretty sure this is as even as it's going to get. This is pretty much where I want it to sit. It's weird because the bumper almost wants you to come, you know, here. But then it sticks out so far because it's going to hit the wheel. So we're going to have to cut it along. We're going to have to try to cut it along here. So I'm going to try to mimic the line of this so it's at the right angle. And I think that'll be good. So I think where it is now, I'm going to drill the holes and I'm going to put our little quick release bumper things in. So that's where we can just cable time to the side. I learned my lesson the hard way with the Mustang because I did that and I just had it on the 2 cable ties. And my bumper fell off on track and I drove over and I ruined the bumper. So I am going to make some little places to bolt it in the middle as well. So just maybe like just bolt it there or make a little bracket just so if the cable ties do break, I won't run over the bumper. Oh, I don't even need to bolt it, just somewhere to cable tie it as well. In fact, yeah, like literally just where that hole is there, just put another hole here and just cable tie it there. I'm not going to run in the center grill because I can't because my radiator's there. So that's another thing as well. I'm going to cut a little bit of a hole here as well. The best thing to do is just get these. You can get them on Amazon. I think these cost £5 on Amazon. Basically, you have these two little washers here, and a cable tie can go around them, or these little rubber bands can. And you put one of them in the bumper, one of them in the wing, and it's just an easy way to do like to fix the bumper on. So we'll do these at the side, and then we'll put another cable tie in the middle for good measure.
So first we're going to draw down the bumper of the excess that we need to cut off. According to this voiceover, I wish I cut a different line because I cut it quite square, but we live and we learn. I just hope it's going to look okay when I have the wheel on. As you can see here, it is quite straight down. I wish I did a bit more of a curve and bring it in closer towards the wheel, but at the time I thought it was going to hit. So let's put it up and we'll see what it looks like at the end. Next thing we're going to do is put the passenger seat in. If you recall back to when we put the driver's seat in, it was an absolute nightmare. We do have some seat mounts which came with this seat, but they are nowhere near the bolt holes that are in the car. So we had to cut them up and basically just make our own. What makes it even worse is that on one of the brackets, the hole is somewhat close to the hole that's already in the bracket, so you can't drill. So I'm going to have to get a Dremel and just make it bigger, which is an absolute pain because these little flying discs of the Dremel just shoot off and they're literally dangerous. So I'm armouring up for this.
Oh, right, okay. The passenger seat is now done, which I'm really happy about. Passenger seat is in. That was a big pain. I've got to literally mess around with those so much. So I've got it in the side. It's bolted. It's bolted in there, which is awesome. Well, I've not fully bolted it down because I'm going to have to do the mounting points and the harnesses and potentially might have to let the seat out again. So not really a big deal. So I'm just going to leave the bolts in loose. I think what I'm going to do is with these, I'm probably going to put them down here like this. So I'm going to drill a hole. So obviously the actual banjo, whatever you want to call it, this can actually go through the floor. So we're going to drill a hole and we're probably just going to weld them there like that, and then we're going to have the harness coming through here, so that's going to pull everyone quite tight. And then on the other side, we've not really got much space down there, so I'm potentially going to put them like here like this. That might work. So I'm going to ask one of the other guys what I should do with that, because I've actually never fitted harnesses, so I don't know if it's better to have the harness forward or it needs to be, you know, right to your side, or it's better to have it back pulling you into the seat. I'm not entirely sure yet, so I'm going to ask one of the other guys before I weld one of those on. But we can tick two things off the list. We can tick off bumper, well I already have, ticked off passenger seat, ticked off bumper. Just mount the bumper a little bit forward and push it up a little bit, because right now it's sagging. But I can do that dead easy, so I'm not going to worry about that now. I'm going to wait till everything's on, like the fans and the wiring's out the way before I fully mount it in its position. But the passenger seat is now done. So this leaves rad cap, bonnet, tied up the lines and the wiring, which again, that really ideally needs to be done last when everything's driving and ready to go. Because there's no point tidying up all the wiring now and then having to, you know, mess around with some of the wiring or move one of the lines or take the wiring out to route the lines, etc. So that's going to be done last. Need to wire in the brake light, so we've actually got a brake light switch on our foot brake. And we just need to send some two wires to the back lights to get the brake light. That's going to be the only light we're going to be running, the brake light. We don't need anything else. If we are going to be competing in drift league and stuff, we need to run a brake light to the front of the car. So we need to put an LED strip across the front, but again, do that later. Gauges. I have actually been speaking to a guy on Facebook and he's actually cut off the green plug. So if you remember my LS400, I had the dash, but I accidentally cut one of the plugs off. A guy's actually cut one off for me, so I'm just waiting for him to reply. So we might not need to do the gauges because we're going to have RPM, coolant and oil pressure sensor on the actual dash. So that would be very handy not have to do all the gauges. Cover the wells underneath, again we'll do that last. Harnesses, which again we'll do when the guys are back. And then weld the cage, which is going to be the last thing once all the seats are in and everything and we're fully done. We're going to weld the cage. So I'm actually going to see if this bonnet, to finish off this video, I'm going to see if the bonnet will fit over the engine. So let's have a go. You know what? I actually thought this bonnet was heavier. I reckon this weighs like 10, 12 kilos, and the fiberglass ones weigh like 5. So if this fits, I'm probably just going to send it and keep this, because, you know, is it really worth, you know, like 5 kilos, which is like half a day's work, and what, like 200 or 300 quid for a fiberglass bonnet? Probably not, but I honestly don't think this is going to fit. I think it's going to hit the engine. So one thing we could do is we can always just cut it and make a vent, or be like extra crazy and just have the engine sticking out through the fucking bonnet. But let's just see, let's see if it fits. I know it's not going to fit because I can literally see right now that it's not going to fit, but let's just see. Yeah, we're miles off. Miles off. Oh my god, it's looking like a car again. Look at it. Yeah, we're miles off. So, what should we do? I'm definitely not angle grinding today, guys. I'm absolutely knackered. But, oh my god, it's starting to look like a car. This is great. But I knew the bonnet wouldn't fit. Fuel rails touching, the intake's touching, top of the actual engine's touching. Oh my god. I keep forgetting that this opens backwards. It's so annoying. What we're probably going to have to do, I mean, if it was a normal bonnet, I'd just space it at the back. So I have the front tucked in and space at the back, but it's not a normal bonnet. So, unless, should I, wait, how does it even bolt into the front? I have to do, this is why it'd be easy to get a fiberglass one. So I can just put a latch, and then just put a latch on the back and just space it up. So obviously people have it so like the bonnet stick out kind of thing. Do you know what I mean when people do that? And obviously it'd have to just be a bit like space like that, which would work, and it'd look, well, it would be fit, it would work. Right, so what I've done is, I've just ordered some pins, some bonnet pins. It's a big stud, and you can basically set the height on that stud of where it pins into the bonnet. But the only issue is that I can do it on the front easy because we've got the bash bar here to drill through. But I've not got any pieces of flat metal on the back to latch the back. There's a bit here, but it goes into a box section and I can't get in there. I think I'm committing to using this bonnet. All the fiberglass bonnets mainly come from Poland, and it's like, you know, 3 to 4 weeks wait, and the car's going to get painted in a few weeks. So I think we're just going to make this work. So I can't figure that out now. I can't figure it out now, but I think what we need to do is need to latch it on 4 corners and just lift the back, just so it clears the engine. Other than that, I'm going to have to cut all the skins out of that, or I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do. And maybe just cut a big fucking hole in it, in the bonnet. But I don't know, I've ordered them pins. We'll wait till them come, and for the meantime I'll see if anybody's selling a fiberglass bonnet on Facebook. But for now I can't do anything else. We're nearly there, we're so close. So I love you all, thanks for watching this E30 build. I know the views have been low on this, but I've wanted to get it done. So a huge thank you to everyone who has been avidly watching the E30 build. It's been helpful because the views are so low, and it's hard to constantly keep filming a car or a series when it's doing the worst in views. It's like going to work and not getting paid, but still having to go. So you guys who are watching this and who have been avidly watching it, the views are always the same. So I know it's the same people watching them. I really appreciate you watching this build. I think it's cool. A lot of people don't on YouTube for some reason. So I love you all, and we'll see you in the next one.